In the Anti-Defamation League accusing a Colorado school district of turning a blind eye to horrific anti-Semitic harassment that's been following one Jewish middle schooler for years. The group is demanding that the Justice Department get involved and put an end to the physical attacks, threats, and bullying. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Campagno, here with my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany. And also joining us today, Kennedy, host of the Kennedy Saves the World podcast, and Dr. Mark Siegel, professor of medicine at NYU Langone Health, Fox News senior medical analyst, and author of the #1 New York Times bestseller, The Miracles Among Us: How God's Grace Plays a Role in Healing. Now, the Anti-Defamation League says the district knew about the harassment, but didn't do enough to stop it. Its complaint highlights a frightening timeline of escalating incidents. Look at this. For 2 years, bullies yelled anti-Semitic slurs, made Nazi salutes and Holocaust jokes, and classmates created a game in PE called Jew Touch Tag, where Jews were chased for being, quote, dirty and contaminated. There were also 3 documented physical assaults, one of which ended in a criminal referral and a restraining order. When one staffer asked the student why others were treating him like this, he reportedly said, because the school doesn't have consequences. The school district released a statement saying, while the Boulder Valley School District does not comment on ongoing legal matters, we take all allegations of discrimination and harassment seriously. We continue to focus on improvements to our policies, reporting systems, practices, and education efforts, all with the goal of ensuring every BVSD student feels safe, welcomed, and with a strong sense of belonging. The ADL has been at the forefront of fighting anti-Semitism in schools across the country. One of its lawyers says these incidents are, unfortunately, becoming more frequent. Watch.
It was never going to just stay there. Right? It was always going to metastasize and spread to other areas of our communities. And we have seen a real rise of K-12 incidents.
Outnumbered reached out to the school district for comment, but have yet to hear back. Kaylee, metastasize is the perfect word for this infection that has spread through the country. This particular case, obviously in Colorado, horrifying to learn about, and it mirrors other cases that we've talked about here on the couch of essentially school districts or teachers in schools looking the other way while students are subjected to abject, horrifying harassment of all kinds, here anti-Semitic.
Yes, and likely unlawful, and it needs to be looked at not only on the state level, but on the federal level as well under the Civil Rights Act. This is appalling. I mean, when you look at these incidences, I was reading through the complaint this morning, I believe it was December 15th. This guy, and you made reference to this, had a lasso put around his neck, this young man, and was pulled off a chair. And it gets worse and worse. So about a year later, or I should say 6 months, February of 2026, listen to what happened according to the complaint. An individual threatened to bring his father's gun to school to shoot people, and then stated to the victim here that Hitler should have killed all the Jews when he had the chance. That is the alleged statement of one of these students to this poor, innocent, young victim. It gets worse than that. You move on to February of 2026, where this student was playing basketball alone, this poor kid, and they come up and spit in his face. And it was time after time after time. And the thought I have is, where are the teachers? Where is the principal? Where were the parents of the kids who were engaging in this behavior? Were they told that your student said something horrific about Hitler, something anti-Semitic, spit in someone's face? Where were the parents? We as society have to agree that anti-Semitism is a problem, that these attacks are unexcusable, and stand against it categorically, forcefully, wherever it is seen, and stomped it out. And instead of punishing the students here who are engaging in anti-Semitism, it seems, at least according to the complaint, that the victim was punished. The victim was the one who had to go to a separate locker room. The victim is the one that was forced out of a school field trip when the other kids, the perpetrators, the bulliers, were allowed to go. We need to look at this closely. You cannot let this fly by. We as a society have to say no place, no how in the United States of America.
Unequivocally. And Kennedy, I found it prescient that that poor kid who understood enough to articulate directly in answer to the question, yeah, the school has no consequences. But also, why is the school asking them? Why isn't the school asking the bullies why they are doing this? There's so much to be found here. You and I toured Poland, and we went through a World War II tour, and it's horrifying to see what felt like history, a dark, sordid chapter in the history of the globe, occurring here in Colorado.
Yeah, and there are people on the far right and the far left who are echoing the sentiment of the Nazis. And it's a really scary time because kids like this are being bombarded. You know, it's like the algorithm will find them on TikTok, and this is what they will get over and over and over again. And if there's no pushback from, you know, these very liberal school districts, and this is what happens. They are so hesitant to suspend kids and take them out of school and transfer them. But it's like, what does it take? You know, you read this and it's incident after incident after incident, and, you know, the anxiety and feeling unsafe and being physically attacked, in addition to the emotional manipulation. You know, imagine if this student were Black or Muslim. Like, it shouldn't matter. Like, we shouldn't have to make comparisons like this. It shouldn't happen to anyone, especially when they are targeted and harassed like this. And, you know, when the kids feel that they can do this with impunity, they are going to do it into adulthood, and it is going to get so much worse. So it's like, yeah, where are the teachers? Where are the parents? And, you know, where's the good old-fashioned discipline? Why should this kid have to apply for a transfer? Get those little bastards out of there.
Indeed. And Harris, we read some of the allegations at the opening of the show. I mean, it's horrific. To Kennedy's point, allegation after allegation where the incidents were one alone would frankly be enough to shock the system, shock the conscience, and be enough for expulsion. But here, for some reason, it was a pattern allowed to go on for years.
Yeah, we are far afield from one or two. This is a movement now. And I'm for the movement of religious freedom in this country. This is part of how we were founded. So I don't want any group, any individual thinking that they have enough power to wipe away our religious freedoms, no matter how we choose to pray, no matter what it looks like. But I'm also concerned about this moment that we're in, because you're talking about schools and young people, and clearly history is not being taught. I mean, you can talk about World War II, but let's talk about 1933, which was years before that, when the Nazis put forth boycotts on Jewish businesses and ensured that their businesses needed to close. They kicked out all the Jewish citizens in Germany who were part of their government, saying they're not real citizens. I mean, that went on for years before the mass incarceration, concentration camps and the killings and all of that, the mass murders. So you had a ramp up that doesn't look too dissimilar to what we are going through now. There's sort of one-off, two-off, three-off attacks on Jews, no matter what the age, the young to the old, the vulnerable. I remember when in Brooklyn, I think it was, a man was putting up October 7th hostage posters, and he was attacked from behind, hit in the head. I mean, if we are not going to have our conscience shocked, then our law and order has to step in. We are breaking apart around an issue that thereby the grace of God go the rest of us, because I'm a minority too. So what is that going to look like? When they get tired of hating Jews, are we next? Are we going to turn back the clock and we see all sorts of people being hated? Because one group wants to wipe away our freedoms. Pursuit of happiness, religious freedom, all of it. Doesn't matter if it was the Declaration of Independence or which document. They don't want it. They don't want the Constitution. They want their own version.
Doctor, we'll put some of the civil rights complaint main allegations up on the screen for a moment. Talk to us about the impact that has on not just that child, but I mean, this is reflective of a sick society, clearly. And to Kennedy's point, it's far left and far right, too.
Completely agree, Emily. And to Harris's point, this is, I loved her point about religious freedom, but I got even better on the point about historical ignorance. This is not, I don't like, even the ADL, I don't like when they throw around the term anti-Semitism. I want to differentiate between when we're talking about Adolf Hitler and when we're talking about the Nazis, and then when we're talking about spitting in someone's face. They're different. When you say that Hitler should have gotten the rest of them, that's a direct attack on not just Jews, but on freedom in our entire society here.
That's right.
When you say Nazis, that's a bad word, and people use Nazis as moral equivalences. Oh, he's like a Nazi, they say, in some kind of political dialogue. We need to differentiate that right here and now. We need to restore awareness of what happened in history. And again, to Harris's point, this was a gradual process throughout the 1930s. It will not happen here because the United States went to war against that and saved the world. That's who we are. That's who we are as American patriots. Indeed.
Well, we will keep a close eye on this and, of course, keep you posted on any developments. Hey, everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.